Every developer has a dream. The dream is that they have the ability to work independent of the other teams such as QA, security or operations or any other teams which helps developer want to work independent of them, and how that can be achieved in a work culture, and that's what CI continuous integration is all about. So today we will talk about how a developer can work independently, make the code change how they want, when they want, and then whatever code change they made will seamlessly go to a stable code storage such as your a mainline in your Git repository, and how that can be achieved continuously and automatically. That's what we will talk about today. And if you haven't watched the previous video about CI/CD, please go ahead and watch that video and come back here, right? In this lecture we talk only about, in this video we'll talk only about continuous integration. So with that, let's get started with continuous integration. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe and turn on the notification so that you would get a lot of useful content from this channel. So go ahead and subscribe, right? So let's talk about what is continuous integration. So in the previous video about CI/CD, I have already talked about the end goal of a company, right? Whenever software are meant for serving the business, and every time you want to make some change into the software, you are actually making the change because your customer needs it. So you want to deliver this change to your end customer as early as possible, and how that can be achieved seamlessly is what CI/CD is all about. But when it comes to CI, continuous integration, we are not solving a business problem, rather we are trying to solve a developer problem, right? Think about a developer who want to work on some change that they want to make on the software. For example, on a e-commerce website, you want to add a new payment method, or there is a login problem onto your website that you want to fix. So basically it would be a developer work on this such kind of changes that you need to make on your software. For that, they do the coding in their laptop, and after they finish their code change in their laptop, then the code can introduce a lot of potential problem to your software, and developer want to make sure that whatever code change he did, it passes certain checks before developer get the confidence that this code can actually move to the central code repository or the main line where every developer code change come together. So how you can achieve that? So there are before we talk about that, let's talk about different process the change code need to undergo. Probably the code need to be reviewed using some automated tools such as SonarQube or many other tools related that support your technology are available. A lot of code review need to happen after the developer made the code change. Then after that, some unit test need to run that would make sure that all the functions, new functions or even the old functions in the softwares are still working correctly. And then after that, you want to build and deploy your software into some machines, maybe locally or sometimes most probably somewhere in the cloud. You want to run your software, build and deploy it, and then you want to run some advanced testing. You want to run some UI testing or some integration testing, different API testing needs to be done. Then after that, you might even want to do a lot of other testing such as other things such as security audit and security scanning. So a typical workflow, I'm going to write, you can take a look at a typical workflow. This is how a typical workflow might look like. Different process the change code need to undergo. So unless your change code undergo all this process, you have no guarantee that this code change is functional, or most of the time your company might already have built automated systems to do such kind of job. To do the code review, it can be automated using certain tools such as SonarQube. Unit testing can be automated using Jest, JUnit, or whatever technology that you use. There are always ways to automate unit test, and build and deploy process can also be automated. Then further testing process can be automated. Security can also be automated, and this whole process can be developed as a pipeline. And companies use tools such as Jenkins or GitHub Actions, different tool that they use to develop such kind of a workflow. So every time a developer make the code change, the code will undergo this whole process of code review, unit test, build, deploy testing, API testing, right, UI testing, security scanning at the code level, and also at the dependency level, at various level, and also on the machine libraries would be scanned, and a lot of things would happen. And if this whole process succeeded, then your developer code is potentially eligible and potentially stable, and it may be combined with other developer code onto a main line. Typically it could be a branch inside your Git repository or inside your code repository. So the idea here is that the developer make the code change, and as soon as he made the code change, this whole process get repeated, and at the end probably one of this process may fail, and in that case developer should receive an email about it, right? He says there's a problem with this change and it needs to be fixed, and developer again work on it and he fix it. If not, if there is no error in none of this process within the pipeline, the code automatically get merged with a main line, typically a branch in Git, or some main line, the code get come together. So that is the process of continuous integration. So what it means to a developer can actually work seamlessly. He get a code change request, he get a change request, he start working on it, and he just he might create a branch and he work on that particular branch in the source code repository, and when he is done, he create a pull request or something, a request he will make to merge his code with the main line, and then a series of process would start that would take the developer code from that specific feature branch, and then at the end of this process, code get validated and it get merged with the mainline. Either it's merged with mainline if there is no error. If there is an error, developer receives an email about that error, he fix it, and he again push the process, and the process repeats. So the idea what this means to a developer is, every time developer want to make a change, he create a pull request and he is done with it. And if there is a problem, he will receive an email. If not, he go to the next task that is assigned to him and he work on that. He don't bother about anybody else, or he don't wait for anyone's feedback on some test case is not working, or some security scanning has failed. The feedback comes automatically within few minutes after he delivered the code change. If there is no or sometimes there is no problem, code get merged to the main line. So which gives developer a lot of flexibility to work conveniently without depending too much on other people. So, and all other people responsibility in the continuous integration process. If you are a QA guy or security guy or operations guy, whatever your role is, you must have a developer first mindset to implement a proper CI work culture in your company. The developer should bother. They should write the code and they will create a pull request when they are done with the code, and that is how they should be working, and rest of the feedbacks they should get when they need. And so CI is all about that. So again, CI do not have an end goal. A code change code went through a CI process without any error does not mean that it is ready to go to production, right? Most of the time continuous integration does not validate everything, right? It validate most important things, and then after the code get merged with a main line, then there are still other things that you have to do before you take the code to your customers or to your production environment. Maybe you want to do some manual testing, or you want to do some data testing, and various other kind of testing and deployment needs to be done before the code is sent to the production. Or maybe you don't directly take to all customers in production, maybe 1% of the customer, then 2% of the customer, and finally 100% of the customer would get the changed code. But again, that is a different process which comes under the entire CI/CD, or you can call it the CD process, which is nothing but an extension of the continuous integration process. And CI/CD together deliver the actual end goal, right? Basically taking software to customer is what CI/CD is all about. But continuous integration is all about developers seamlessly integrating their work with a main line, probably a branch in Git. So that's pretty much I wanted to talk about. So if you haven't watched the CI/CD video, I request you to go ahead and watch it. The link is given on the top. And also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe right? I would be posting a lot of videos like this that would help you understand different DevOps concept and also some practical demos continuously, right? So until I come up with a next video, bye bye.